Hi folks, this is Matthew again. Remember last year we did this video on a smartwatch called InWatch Z? We had quite some fun with it. And just a couple of weeks ago, a likely official account of the InWatch company just showed up on our YouTube channel and we had a nice little discussion on their product. So it doesn't seem like that the fad for smartwatch is gonna diminish anytime sooner, especially this year when you have a couple of no-name Chinese manufacturers join the pack, making this whole thing a global orgy. So in this video, I'm going to talk about two representative models in the smartwatch category on TinyDeal.com. One is the DZ09, the one you might have already heard about, and the Q7S, which is less known than the DZ09. So why would I pick these two for comparison? Well, for starters, they are pretty much the same in terms of specification, regardless of how different they look. And secondly, they too have a major price difference, more than $10. This aroused my curiosity, so I have decided to take them to home and try it for a while and come back to share with you my experience with the two. And before I go further down to the comparison part, let's talk about the similarity first. They are both equipped with MTK6260A chipset and they are both micro SIM card ready, which means you can insert one single 2G micro SIM card and make phone calls through them. I personally didn't test this functionality because for me, a smartwatch is merely an extension of a smartphone, so it is pointless for a smartwatch to assume such functionality. And secondly, I just didn't have a micro SIM card. That was a pity, but still, you can find a lot of video on the subject on YouTube. Okay, moving on. They both have Bluetooth 3.0, they both have 64 megabytes of RAM and 128 megabytes of ROM. Screen resolution, they are both of 240 by 240. And talking about other functionalities that comes with a Chinese smartwatch, they are pretty much the same. And in the next part, I'm going to go through the differences and let's see if the price gap of $10 is justified. And why don't we start with the packaging? In here, I'm going to give the DZ09 a thumbs up because it knows damn well that it does not have to pretend. You are a no-name smartwatch, then you give a package that corresponds to a no-name smartwatch. So thank you DZ09 for being genuine. What I'm having a problem with is the Q7S. Obviously it's trying to be something that it isn't or it just simply cannot be. Well, right here we have the slogan that says never say goodbye to your youth or something like that, literally. I don't know what that means. And opening up, you got another layer of slogan that says the most beautiful things in this world is that I like you and you just happen to like me too. To be honest with you, it takes more than just being an Apple Watch knockoff to please me. Thank you. And inside you got the user manual with this greetings that says hello. I guess this some sort of branding too, but it is just not in consistency with the slogan that you have in the outer layer of the packaging. By the way, this manual comes with both English and Chinese version. And then I find out there's another supplementary manual that covers some functionality, but it's completely in Chinese. So I wonder what happened to the English part of this one. Nice try faking Q7S, and let's go down to other differences and see what you got to offer. Now let's take a quick rundown on the design of these two, starting with the DZ09, which has many sharp edges clearly, and it's looking rather masculine with this cold, steely look. The downside is no doubt the bracelet, which is of conventional design. It has this metal case back, which just keep cutting in the skin when you try to tighten up the bracelet on your waist. In comparison, the Q7S that has 2.5 curved screen looks more aesthetic, but as it is inspired by Apple, it also has some kind of a swag. Talk about the bracelets. This one is definitely more comfortable than the DZ09 thanks to its new design, but just be careful when you try to put it off your waist or you might end up dropping it. And talking about the two screens, the DZ09 is of 1.55 inch and the Q7S 1.54 inch, knowing that they both have the same resolution. And DZ09 surely is more generous with its 0.02 margin, but the touchscreens is somehow not so reactive. In comparison, the Q7S screen has way superior quality. It is more reactive, has this more smoother touch, It also has brighter and more lively color. Yes, they are faking it, but they are faking it real good. I can give them this credit. And let's talk about the cameras. The DZ09 is of 2 megapixels, whereas the Q7S is somehow lower, 1.3 megapixels. To me, this difference in terms of specification is not at all important. By the way, all the photos and the videos that are taken during my test are under strong sunlight. So for the DZ09, as you can see here, the photos seem to be overexposed. It's really hard to make out what is what. Whereas the Q7S, the exposure control is way better, but it has this weird image distortion around the edges of the picture, as if it was shot with a fisheye lens. By the way, here's the video for comparison. When I was watching this, I was thinking to myself, what actual use does this video have given the ultra low resolution? And that's the question that I would like to have from you in the comment section, so be creative. And about the battery of these two, the DZ09 is of 380 mAh, whereas the Q7S is slightly smaller, 350 mAh. Well, it's really hard to tell which one actually lasts longer. In my case, it is rather the DZ09 that died first after one full charge together with the Q7S, so this is kind of funny. And the Q7S can still last up to 4 to 5 hours after the battery reaches almost 0%. Then I guess the battery indicator on this one is not good. Okay, the Q7S has a certain 3D sensor, which means it can give out more accurate step counting results. Well, this is hard to tell too. I went out testing the two together with my Xiaomi Mi Band, and the result is just confusing. Not saying that I'm using the most reassuring method for the test, but I say I would go with the one that has the closest results to the Xiaomi Mi Band. Now I would like to talk about what I like on the both of them, starting with this look in phone function, which actually means relocating your smartphone via Bluetooth connection. Well, this is a very good feature if you're not in the habit of organizing stuff around you. And then we got the anti-loss function. And this function keeps you close to your adult pacifier, which is in this case your smartphone. Just when you're about to get far away enough from your smartphone to get the Bluetooth connection between your smartwatch and the smartphone cut off, it will remind you. But the downside is the Bluetooth connection wouldn't re-establish itself when the smartwatch is back in range. You will have to do this manually. And then we had the sedentary reminder, which is basically a timer with a reminder function. Well, this is a very good function because, well, sitting for way too long can do very weird things to your health, especially to your heart. So it's really good to set up a reminder that reminds you constantly that you should get up once in a while. And next, we got the remote control for smartphone. This should be a killer feature because it allows you to remotely control your smartphone's camera via Bluetooth. But there's just something that has to be tweaked. I mean, the button for the shutter control should be placed in the center of the screen rather than on this little tiny corner right here. I mean, why would I have to still look at the smartwatch to locate this tiny button right here while I'm taking selfie with it? That doesn't make no sense. Wouldn't it be better that the user only have to tap on the center of the screen right here just to take a picture? And lastly, let's come to the Bluetooth notification function, which is a fundamental function for any smartwatch. This is a function that defines the existence, that justifies the existence of smartwatches in general. So for checking out text messages and other messages, this is pretty nice, but only nice for checking out messages. Try replying to the message directly on the smartwatch is just way too painful for me. Might as well pull out my smartphone to do the job. But if you do want to reply directly via this watch, be careful, because the smartphone might block its access since it's trying to gain control of the smartphone's input. And now I'll go on with the things that I don't like with the both of them, while starting with a feature that should make these two great products but fail miserably. As you can see here, they both have media players installed in them and they can connect directly to Bluetooth headphones. Well, this should be a killer feature especially for joggers, but they just screwed up the Bluetooth part really bad. I mean, outdoor connection with a Bluetooth headphone is just problematic. The music gets cut off all the time, especially when it gets windy. Well, this is a major deduction. Well, the second thing that didn't get on my good side is the lack of timer and stopwatch function. I mean, these are the fundamental functions for a timepiece, and you already have the sedentary monitor, which is essentially a timer, so why they didn't even bother putting an actual timer on these two, I just don't understand. And I'm not joking, you can actually configure the quality of photos taken with the camera on these two right here. But just see for yourself. To me, the differences is just non-existent. And sleep monitor function is just not legit. Why? Let's just say I went to bed one night with both of them on my waist, and the next morning they gave me radically different results. I was like, the f when I saw the results. And not to mention, one of them said I'm already asleep while still in my bedtime reading section. So this is a joke. And lastly, I just can't seem to find digital dial plate for these two smartwatches. I don't understand. Maybe this is a question about being stylish or something else. But I really would like to have digital dial plate for these watches. Please. Alright, I don't know about you, but to me, smartwatches are still essentially gadgets. But that doesn't mean that their resistance is not justified. So who should buy these smartwatches? A, for people who want notification but don't want to spend a lot of time on their smartphones. B, people who want a timepiece that's just a little bit more than a timepiece. And C, people who want a miniature backup mobile phone. And in the case of the DZ09 and the Q7S, they both can satisfy the mentioned needs regardless of the shortcomings. But if you ask me which one to choose from, I would say without any hesitation it's gotta be the DZ09. The Q7S doesn't seem to be compelling enough for its similarly augmented build quality and its design. So the $10 plus price gap is not at all justified to me. I mean, I have to pay $10 more just to get an Apple Watch cologne, which only does pretty much the same thing as the DZ09. Nah, not that rich. Okay, that will be all for my video, and I hope I have been thorough enough with this comparison. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you find the content useful. I'm Matthew, and I'm signing out.